Connor and I'm from Just a Chat, and we're here with Seamus from P.I.P.S in Lurgan. Welcome, Seamus.
Thank you very much, Connor. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, so the basis of this podcast today is just to let people know about yourselves, P.I.P.S Lurgan, what you do, the services available, and things like that. So basically, to start, sort of, where's this come from? How did all this begin?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's P.I.P.S Hope and Support in Lurgan. And there's a P.I.P.S Hope and Support in Uri as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the organisation is now in its 21st year. It came on the tragic circumstance of my own son's death back in April 2003. It became apparent to me at the time that there was very little available from the Uri area. We done a little bit of searching for some support and what's available and found that there was little enough in there. Again, it was it was something that we had not ever thought would ever impact on our lives. It wasn't something that we thought would happen. Seamus was a second year student at Queen's University. By all accounts, very bright individual, very happy, outgoing, and very popular with lots of friends. So it wasn't something that was on the horizon in any shape or form, but we've learned from then that this is something that is apparent in many families.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it came together collectively. I felt I wanted to speak to others who had lost loved ones to suicide. I didn't know anyone. So I just put an ad in one of the local papers and invited them out to a meeting in Drummondtown College, which is just on the Belfast Road. And I thought maybe we would get 3, 4, 5 people on that evening, and there was over 30 attended.
And this in 2003?
September 2003, that was the very first meeting. And from then, we just developed ourselves. We started off as a support group, and then we became a constituted organisation, and then we started to look at the services that we needed for the area for suicide prevention and mental health, resilience. And over the 21 years, we've got to where we are today, where we have 3 sites and 22 staff and a range of professional services. And again, we partner up with our statutory family and community stakeholders and partners. We're funded by the Public Health Agency to deliver a range of training, education programs, counselling services, bereavement services. Now, when I say bereavement services, I mean suicide bereavement services. And I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I can go on.
Yeah.
Any particular questions you want to ask?
Well, basically, what are the three sites? So where are these 3 sites?
Okay, so our main site, right, what we would call it is the headquarters would be in Uri, in Mill Street in Uri. And then we've got another site in River Street in Uri. Now the River Street site is it's a new project completely. It's called the Wellbeing Cafe. It's a crisis cafe, the first of its kind in Northern Ireland. It's an out of hours project. It's manned by professional counsellors who actually have got great skills with regards to working with people who are quite vulnerable. Our counsellors have all specialist training, the same as primary mental health gets. So all of our counsellors do training what's called Case and Bassani and the Western Trust Safety Plan and sort of risk formulation. We use Core 34 so we can determine the risk and the level of the risk. And again, the service is out of hours, as I said. So P.I.P.S in Uri opens at 9 to 5, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And the out of hours is opened on Friday and Monday 5 to 10 and on the Saturday 12 to 7. So it's opened 7 days a week. It's aligned to Daisy Hill Hospital so that people who are going to ED who don't need to go there for a mental health problem can be referred from ED and are referred down to the
emergency department, so they can go there and then they get referred to your counselling services.
Yes.
Okay.
Now
so it bypasses the GP.
We then, once we get them into our service, then we can get direct contact with the home treatment response team and the integrated liaison team, so we can bypass GP, which means there's not a 6-week waiting list. We've got that's quite unique. We've also got a data sharing agreement with primary mental health, so we can share data from our sales force in their Paris. We've also got a governance body that entails, so it does the Northern Ireland Ambulance Service, the Policing Partnership, the PSNI, the Probation Board, the trusts, and all primary mental health, plus some of our regional stakeholders and one of our local stakeholders here in Portadown, which would be AMH Mansana.
Action Mental Health.
Action Mental Health. So we have got, we work very closely with the local community. We don't see ourselves as having all the answers, so we need to work closely. we have a multi-agency approach to all the services we deliver on. We've got this, again, you asked for the 3 sites. Then we have this Lurgan site. So we're based here in Union Street in Lurgan. Again, we thought this was as close to the middle of Lurgan as we could get. We're not aligned to any one side of the community or the other. CSI doesn't know the difference. So we work with all sections of the community. And again, we replicate the services in Uri here in the Lurgan area. So our counsellors here are all accredited, are all professional counsellors. Those that are accredited are accredited. Those that are not are put on what's known as the time framed action plan to become accredited. We work with them to become accredited. And again, at this moment in time, our profile is quite good with regards to, we've got full quotas for counselling. But
how many counsellors do you have in this site?
In this site here, we've got two associates. We've got 4 in total.
4 in total.
But we have got 5 in Uri and 3 associates, and then we've got 4 in the Wellbeing Cafe.
Okay.
But they can all support each other.
Okay.
So even though you might find that there's a demand for the service here, we can take counsellors from Uri here.
Right. Okay.
And vice versa. So it's about, we don't want to work in silos. We want to work so they as closely together with everyone.
Brilliant.
So we have got our training program here as well in this area. So it's not all about the clinical services. P.I.P.S Hope and Support is about education and educating the community.
So if I'm looking to join this Wellbeing Cafe, how do I go about joining that? Is there a certain registration process or?
Well, I'll give you an example of that. So one, if you want to walk in, that's fully fine. What you do is you just come down to the cafe, the door's open. So you come in, you'll be welcomed. Obviously, we do have to catch some information off you. We need to know, what your reason for coming is. Are you there because you're very distressed? Are you there because you need somewhere to go on a Sunday or a Saturday and you just feel isolated at the moment? You want to break that social isolation down. Again, there's formal and informal support. The informal support, so it is like, they can play chess. It is a cafe. It's a proper cafe. So there's a barista there, there's coffee, there's machines, there's all of that. There's loads of different activities that can take place, but there's also professional service available if you need it. We've got art therapists there, and we've got professionally qualified counsellors there. If it becomes, during the screening process, becomes clear that you're quite distressed and need some support, the counsellors will then do what's known as a clinical risk assessment on you, and that's a core 34. The determination from that risk assessment will mean that you come into the service and you'll be offered counselling for a period of time. We work with what's known as crisis intervention. So our crisis services are 6 weeks at the minimum, 8 weeks at the maximum. If the need for the service goes beyond that, we have got lots of referral pathways. We've got direct referral pathways into primary mental health in particular. We can bypass GP and we can go to the integrated liaison team in Daisy Hill Hospital, or we can go straight to home crisis response team in Daisy Hill Hospital. We've got a data sharing agreement with them, which means that we can share information without breaking GDPR rules with their primary mental health and vice versa. So there's 3 different ways of referring in both ways. So we have what's known as bronze, silver and gold. A bronze referral from primary mental health to us would be, they send a referral through paper document. We pick it up and we take the client in. Silver referral would be the therapist from primary mental health sends the referral through but wants to speak to the therapist that's going to be handling the client. And the gold one is where it's a 3-way conversation going on between the therapist that's making the referral for primary mental health, the therapist in the cafe, and the client themselves. So we then, once we've got the person in, we provide that service for a period of 6 weeks. Now after that, if they want to stay with the cafe for informal support, maybe they've met friends in the cafe and they're playing chess with them or they're doing something or another, they can do that. If the referral comes from ED department, we've designed cards for ED, PSNI, probation board and ambulance service. The ED will give them the card, and that card then will have the taxi service number at the back, and we have it in Uri's Clanray. They phone that number, Clanray taxi picks them up in ED, takes them down to the cafe. From there then they're taken into the cafe by one of the counsellors. And
is there a charge for the taxi?
No, we're funded by the police in partnership for that, so that's a free service, so it is for the person who's coming through. However, they do need to come in. They can't get the taxi service down to the cafe and then decide to walk home. That's not going to happen. They do get the taxi service down to the cafe and come in. And then once they're seen by someone in, we take the card off them and then we will then make that payment. Now, after the service, we will then call the same taxi service back, and they'll be taken home within a 6 mile radius.
Right, okay.
So within 6 miles of the cafe, which normally around Newry we're talking about Rathfriland, Warren Point.
Quite a large radius, yeah.
Wide enough.
What happens if you're just slightly 7 or 8, like
They
outside?
make the difference up yourself with the
Right,
taxi
okay.
driver.
Okay.
Right, we've only got a remit for 6 miles.
Okay, right.
So the services in-house in the cafe are quite unique. They're an adult-only service. And again, as I said, our counsellors all have specialist training in case and fatality and risk formulation. So they're able to manage that there quite easily. It's the same training the primary mental health get. And because we are funded by the Public Health Agency to provide it, and the Southern Health Social Care Trust, they provide that training to our staff for free.
Okay.
It doesn't cost us anything. It's an out-of-hours one. We see a lot of referrals this last wee while from the GP Federation, in particular from the GPs themselves. But again, we're not, the doors open to every adult.
Well, a lot of that what you've just talked about there is all sort of referral based. See this premise in Lurgan, right? If I'm at home and I'm suffering and I'm feeling bad and I need the help, why should I pick up the phone?
Well, because we have got that same specialist service here in Lurgan.
Mm-hmm.
We have qualified, all our counsellors in the cafe that I mentioned, all the skills they have, all of our counsellors have that same training, whether they're in Lurgan, Redbane Cafe, or in Newry. So it's the same counselling you get if you went to primary mental health department. It's the exact same counselling. So you reach out to us, you come to us, you can be assured that you're going to get a professional treatment. You're going to get a professional therapist that knows exactly how to work with people who are vulnerable, who are distressed, high levels of anxiety, or actually suicidal or self-harming. Those are what our counsellors are trained in. So that is quite unique in that, there's a lot of counsellors out there, but they don't have that specialist training. My staff do. So all my staff, all my clinical staff have that exceptional training. So that's one reason. We also offer that psychoeducational support. So if you're concerned about a loved one, a friend, a family member, colleague, a neighbour, phone the office, phone P.I.P.S office here in Lurgan, phone P.I.P.S office in Newry.
So I pick up the phone and say, I'm worried about my wife or my son, or so it doesn't have to be the person who's actually in a crisis or feeling bad. So if I've got any worries, or even for my own education, probably, if I want to get a wee bit more sort of know of what you do, I can pick up the phone and go, I'm worried about so and so. Then what happens?
Well, first of all, you say you're worried about your loved one. We'll say, well, we'll have to get some information, obviously, some background information, obviously. You will then be advised of what the services are that's available. So you'll be saying, is the person willing to come in? Because it's all right you phoning up and saying, I'm worried about him, but if he's not willing to come in, it's going to be difficult. But what we will do then is we'll say, well, listen, in the meantime, encourage him to come in. Give him as much support as you can.
Can they come in with him?
You can, but they're not going to the counselling session with them unless in the first one, just to give them maybe a brief.
So the first one they can attend?
Yes.
Right, because that would be good, because I know a lot of people, the biggest problem is that first step through the door.
Yeah.
But if I can make that first step through the door with my wife or my friend or cousin or whoever, then that probably will give me a lot more confidence and to be able to go, because if I go myself, there's a lot that I maybe won't say in that first meeting, or I might turn around at the last minute. So probably having that support beside you for the first meeting is crucial for some people.
Crucial for some people, you're right. Not necessary for everyone, but crucial for some, and we accept that. And for that reason, we're trying to get the people, we're encouraging people to come in, and whatever that encouragement looks like is what we're happy enough to provide. So if they do come in and they're getting the support good and well, if not, we might say, well, listen, do your best to encourage them to get the help wherever they need it. We're only one service that can provide this. There's lots of other ones, maybe they prefer to go elsewhere. We're not trying to make sure that everybody comes to us, but if people want to come to us, our service is available for them. We might say something like, well, if you're trying to support them, simple things like make it about them, not about you.
Yeah.
So don't say things like, God, your mother's not sleeping because she's so worried about you. That's making it about someone else.
Pressure, yeah.
And that's making you feel maybe a bigger burden. I'm the reason that my mother's not sleeping at night. I'm the reason that all of these things are going wrong. So don't make it about anyone else. Keep it about them. The best thing you say is, listen, we get you the support you need, we'll all feel better. So it's you that's important. So that psychoeducational support, so what it is then, is rolled out. And again, it all depends. Every situation is quite unique.
Yeah.
Circumstances around each situation is unique, and the network of support around each person is quite unique. It's all different.
Okay, so we're just outside 41 Union Street. This is the P.I.P.S Hope and Support premises in Lurgan, just behind the Tesco's and Town Hall. So it's very, very easy seen. Plenty of parking. We're just going to run through, Seamus, if you want to take us in,
Go
and we'll
ahead.
show you what the process is. Whenever you come in off the street, you'll be met by Jeslyn.
Not necessarily be met by either Jeslyn or Ursula.
Okay. And what's the process now when I come in? What do I do?
Well, Jeslyn will then obviously make you welcome and ask you is there any services you're looking for. It could be training, it could be counselling, it could be support, it could be information. So Jeslyn will take that initial information off you, and then depending on what that is, she will then give you the information that you require, or she will take the information off you and put you through for counselling, or whatever you're looking for. It could be fundraising, could be training, could be counselling, whatever.
So if I want to come in and see about the training courses we talked about, it's all the information's here.
Yes, Jasmine should be able to pull up the training, so she works very closely, so she does direct referral processes, so it is to Newry. She can phone through there and they'll give her all the information she needs. But generally speaking, she'll have it at her fingertips.
Fantastic. And even if I want to come in and get just information I can see behind you there, all the different stuff to promote the well-being.
Yes.
So there's lots of different things. Even if you want to come in for just your own information, you don't necessarily have to register or talk to anyone. You can just come in and get information off the wall.
Oh, indeed, yes. Of course, you can come in here and get all of that information. There's a lot more information here. There's more outside there.
Yeah.
And again, what we do is we keep this well stocked. So, as soon as something runs out, we just replace it with the same information.
This is an example of one of the rooms you'd be tucked in for counselling.
Yeah. It's quiet. It's got natural light coming through the window, so it has it's got an area, so it's quite free. And again, we keep all the walls neutral for no other reason than that once they're bright and airy, and sometimes even just letting a bit of fresh air comes in makes people feel a lot better.
And it's key to say that it's upstairs, out of the way. You're not sitting at the window. Nobody can see you. Nobody's walking past. There's no distractions. It's nice and quiet out of the road, and
and it's that unique quietness, so it is that makes it all the more personal. Again, it's a small enough space, but it's big enough so it is for what we need. And again, there's other rooms as well we can use.
Yeah, we've seen that room, the treatment room. So what's that?
Complementary therapy.
Okay.
So we have got a complementary therapist, Giovanna, and Giovanna comes in, so she does advise a complementary therapist, mostly at this moment in time for our bereaved family members as a means of self-care. So if they're not ready for counselling, if they're maybe getting some family support, but the family support worker thinks that they could benefit from some self-care, we give them 10 weeks of complementary therapy free.
Fantastic. And how do you avail of that service then as well?
Same way you feel of any of the rest of them. So the only thing about it is the complementary therapy services is only for bereaved family members.
Okay.
So, if you're coming in for any other reason, it's not available. But if you're a bereaved family member, lift the phone.
Because that's important as well, because a lot of people don't see what the families go through if they've lost someone through suicide. So if anyone's out there and they're having a hard time and they've lost somebody, pick up the phone.
Oh, definitely.
Come in, relax, get your switch off if you need out of the house.
Talk to all the people who have been there where you are. As I said, I'm a bereaved father, so I can talk to other fathers because I know exactly where they are. I know what they're experiencing. I've been there, unfortunately, but that gives them an element of hope, because what you don't want is people thinking, is this my life? Is this who I am for the rest of my life? Since my son died, I've now got 5 grandchildren, so things have changed that I didn't ever think that never thought would have happened. But I've already, and I know that talking to other family members who've lost loved ones to suicide, they do get an element of hope by talking to someone who's experienced it, but is managing their life at the moment.
Even at that though, like you said as well, you don't necessarily have to come here to talk. You can get some therapy. You get some therapy. You get a massage or
Indian head
just
massage,
relax,
reflexology.
Come in, do that, reset, and go again. You don't have to talk, but at least when you're in the building, there's the option here that you can see it, you can experience it. You've got that comfortable, and it might open that door for you to talk if you wish to go down that. The other side of it as well, we were in the training room, so that's where you said all the training happens.
A lot of training happens there, but we also outreach our training. So like we would take our training to any other venue in the place, in the area. If the need is there, like, you know, we've done training, so we have in different places right across, Craigavon, Portadown, and and here in Lurgan. Most recently, we've delivered, as I said, the training, the Safe Talk training in Changing Lives, Geordie Down in Guildford.
Fantastic, yeah. So I think when people drive past and walk past to see this building, and they think mental health, counselling, no, not for me, and they're walking on. But there's so much more behind the scenes. This is why we're doing videos like this, so people can see what goes on behind closed doors. I see when I came in here, I didn't know you did massages. I didn't know you had the training room. So this is an eye opener for me too, and it's great because I can then use your services and I can promote more. So we're all in the same boat, and we all need to open our eyes to what's out there. So yeah, it's amazing what is actually behind the doors if you actually reach out and try and do a bit of research. Yeah. So, age-wise, what sort of age do you work with? Is there a cutoff? Is there a limit? Is there over 18, over 16?
No, obviously the adult services starts at 18, and there's no cutoff point for adults. It just goes on now, whatever age the person is. For the children and young people services, so we have a bereavement service that is available, so it is from say age 6 up.
Okay.
And that's bereavement counselling and bereavement support. And we have art therapists who provide that service.
And is that the parents then contact you and say, I'm worried about my child, he's lost somebody, and that's how they go through the bereavement service then?
Possibly. It could be also that we have a family support workers. We have two of them, one based here in the Portadown, Craigavon, Lurgan area, and one based in the Newrymorn and Down District Council area. And again, what we do is they might be talking to the families because they're supporting families in the aftermath of a loved one's death by suicide, and it might become apparent that the young people in the family need some level of support, and in that situation the family support worker will refer the children into the service. Once they refer them in, obviously it's fast track because they can go straight to the counselling department and get that put in place. Again, it could be the parents, so it may be that the parents don't need any family support but want to refer the children in. They can do that as well. And again, you know, the door is open for whatever form it takes. Like we have an SD1 process here in Northern Ireland, where if somebody dies suddenly by suicide, there's a process called Sudden Death 1. And again, you have got a Protect Life coordinator called Samaritans, and she can make referrals into the service as well. So it may be that she has identified something in the family, and she refer the clients, then children, adults, or young people into the service. So the service is quite broad in regards to the availability of it. However, the crisis service is slightly different. So if there's a crisis service needed for the children, at this moment in time, we don't have a crisis service for the children as young as 6. We start that off around about 12 to 14. And the reason for that is that we don't have, there's a lot more work involved in that. We're restructured last year, so we're in the stages of developing it. And but having said that, if there's a need for a young person at that age for crisis services, we can refer to the like of Nova, Bernardo's, or similar.
So even if they don't fall in that category, say if they're 10 and they ring in, they'll get signposted to the right people.
We have organised. We know who the organisations are.
Brilliant.
So we can not only, we don't like to just signpost people. We like to make the referral for them.
Oh, brilliant!
So it's difficult for some people. For me to turn around and say, you need to go to Nova.
Yeah. You're
going to turn around and say to me, who's Nova? Where I'm going to say, I'm going to refer you into Nova.
Okay.
Well, then that means then that the work's been done for you.
Exactly.
So we try to simplify it so that that you get the easiest pathway as you possibly can.
Fantastic. In terms of, I phone up today and I need some sort of help, what's the sort of waiting time to be seen by a counsellor?
Well, again, that depends on the assessment once it's completed. If you've got what's known as thoughts of life not worth living, that's a priority.
Yeah.
So you get your clinical risk assessment completed, and you will then be aligned a counsellor see you. Now there could be a waiting list. At the moment, the demand for the services grew dramatically, and although we've got all them counsellors, we're still finding we need more and more. We're only after 2 weeks ago recruiting an 3 associate counsellors because the demand for the services. So it depends on what you're presenting with. If you are presenting as high risk, right, That's an immediate one, right? But if you're presenting to you, right, and you feel a little bit anxious, or you feel a little bit depressed, but there's no thoughts of life not worth living at this moment in time, well, you may be put on a waiting list, and then that could be 48 hours, it could be a week.
Okay.
So it
But
all
so
depends.
it's not months.
Oh, it's not months,
Because I
no.
know a lot of people,
No.
the stigma around reaching out, but sure, so and so's on a waiting list for 8 months and this and that.
Yeah,
So
no, it's not
with
that length of time.
yourselves, it's a week or two.
Yes.
It's a matter of a
No
week or
more,
two.
it should be no more than that. And if it does, then that goes on to our risk assessment. And then what we do is we look at that and say, okay, the demand for this service is grew, and now we can't meet the need. So now we need to look at, well, what do we do to meet the need? And that's why we take on the associates.
And if I'm on that waiting list, say, and I'm not immediate risk, and I start going down and down and down and deeper and darker, and it's getting worse, can I phone back up and almost reassess?
Of course.
Okay, perfect.
Of course you can phone back.
So it's not I'm sitting there, I've made the referral, and I just sit and wait. You can phone up at any time if you're feeling a lot worse and just sort of reaffirm, it's not getting better, and it might sort of help things out, right?
We have what's known as a triage department. So in the triage department, you've met Jaslyn here. Jaslyn is what's known as the first contact counselling navigator, and Olivia and Yuri is the first contact counselling navigator. So if somebody phones into the office, it'll be the reception that will take the call. They will then put that call through to the first contact counselling navigator.
What do you say when you ring up? Like what do people say?
Well,
like, do I ring up, like, for
people
example?
say, listen, I need counselling. I'm not doing good. I'm very depressed. I'm having suicidal thoughts. I just don't feel confident, feel very vulnerable. You might get family members phoning up and saying the same thing. I'm very concerned.
And it's all data protection, even though it's not a trained counsellor at the front window. It's all, everything's all.
No. See, that's is that once they get that call, they'll say, "Can you hold the line and we put you through the triage?"
Right. So, Seamus, at the wee bit earlier there, I mentioned about I'm not feeling good. Why should I pick up the phone? But on the flip side, if I am feeling good and I don't think I have any issues or stresses, or I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious, why should I know about this if I don't need it?
Well, first and foremost, you don't know if you will ever need it, and let's hope and pray that you never do. But again, you don't know who belonged you might need it. You don't know who's out in the community that you may come in contact that might need it. So knowing your resources is a really valuable thing to have. It's a tool, so it is, that most people don't have. But resources, so they are available for everybody if they want them. For 21 years now, P.I.P.S has been going. It's been operating from 2003. And we're still battling that challenge of getting that information out there about who we are, what we do, and how we deliver the service. What we find mostly is people only come looking for the service once the need is identified, that they need that help and support. But again, those same people who are coming at that point maybe had to ask questions or look around, maybe while they were feeling vulnerable. Whereas if they had known 3 months previously or 6 months previously, well, then the process for getting the contact and getting the help might have been a lot quicker. What we would normally say is, the sooner you get the help for the problem that you have, the sooner it can be resolved if it's resolvable.
But you can't get that help if you don't know where the help is.
Exactly. So that's why going to the training programs are very, very important. Knowing who's out there. Lifting the phone to many organisations and asking them what is their remit. What do you do? How do I refer into it? Can you? And again, if you ask many organisations, you phone up, you don't really what I want, but this is what I'm looking for. Most of them should be able to say to you, this is the organisation you need to go to. So if you do need a help and support for whatever organisation, don't be afraid to lift the phone to anyone. More often than not, they will have some guidance for you. We are funded as a Protect Life Resource Centre by the Public Health Agency. So we have a broad overview of what the services in the area are. So if you do come in to us, we might be able to refer you to, if you come in, say, for debt problems, we've got a fast track referral system into community advice. If you come in for domestic violence, we've got a fast track referral system into Women's Aid. We know about Clan Ryan, we know about Bolster, we know about Autism NI, we know about Autism Hive. So we know about all the groups that are out there. So we can make referrals to those groups. So it's not all about us having all the information, because we don't have. But we do know the organisations that do have.
That sort of leads me on to sort of the next side as well. There's a massive stigma around the visible image of mental health. I don't want anyone knowing what's wrong with me. I don't want people thinking I'm depressed. I don't want people thinking I have anxiety. So people probably assume if somebody sees me walking in here, they're going to think I'm depressed. That's the stigma that all of us are trying to break. But if somebody walks in here, what else do you do, like within the building, that
okay, so
will solve that?
we've got a lot of different projects going on at any given time, a lot of different activities going on at any given time. We deliver a lot of training, so we do within the community, where again we deliver the assist training, which is applied suicide intervention skills training, 2-day intervention model. We deliver mental health first aid training, 4 different modules over a period of 2 days or 4 nights. We deliver resilience programs, we deliver safe talk programs, we deliver our own shoulder to shoulder, which is OCN accredited level 2. But in addition to that, we have a lot of partners who operate from our premises. So they'll come in and they'll deliver their services here in Lurgan. We have Lifeline coming in here. We've got AMH, everybody coming in here. I don't recall all of the organisations because I'm not too sure whether in Uri or Lurgan, but I know there's a lot going on. We had Parent NI, we had Nexus NI, we had Start 360.
So it's not just mental health, really. There's loads of stuff.
Well, they're all connected with mental health.
Connected,
They're all connected.
But I mean, training courses.
The training course is different. So the training courses are, we would advise people to come to say they'll act with the mental health first aid training, and they will cover topics like, what is mental health, mental health and suicide, psychosis, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, covers all of that. Assist is a 2-day intervention program. So how the local community, people like ourselves out in the community that want to maybe help others but don't feel they have the tools to do it, it's a 2-day training that they can actually work with someone who's actively suicidal, put protective factors in place for them, and the model is quite unique. So all of that's going on in both Newry premises and the Lurgan premises. So coming in here doesn't mean you're coming in necessarily for a clinical counselling service. You can be coming in for any reason.
Training or anything.
Training.
And I will put that out there to people. If you're walking past, pop your head in and see what courses are available, because like you says, you never know. You'll never go and buy plasters when you're covered in blood. You always have them sitting at home just in case you need it. It's the same with mental health. Come in and see what courses are available. Sign up to one of the courses. Ask for a bit more information. Take a few leaflets. Put the leaflets at home in the drawer, because that's your new mental health first aid kit. As long as you have a point of reference that you can put your hand on something, it's the difference in saving a life at times.
Yeah. So and you don't necessarily even have to pop your head through the door. Go onto our website. We've got a grand website, so heavy. And
we'll put all the information at the bottom of all our videos, as well as where they can get in contact.
Yeah, well, we put our training events up on a regular basis. We've got Assist coming up next week. We've got Mental Health First Aid coming up next week.
But it's more regular, isn't it? You're constantly doing things.
Yeah, we're only after delivering a Safe Talk program there in Guildford. So that's part of this local community.
And much do they cost?
They're free. We're funded to provide those for free.
So all those courses
all
are free?
All of our courses that we deliver are absolutely free. You pay nothing. All you need to do is register. Now, having said that, if you register and then you don't turn up, you put to the bottom of the list.
Okay.
So my advice is turn up.
Turn up.
It is the training is quite unique. They're all specialist trainers. We've got I think we've got 12 trainers in total. And again, the services, so they are that people come back at the end of the training and say it was fantastic. The feedback's always amazing.
What I would say as well is social media is a huge thing these days, and people on their phones, kids especially. And we always say it as same as yourself, prevention is better than the cure. So if you're at home and you're on social media and you're going on one of them scrolling fits for hours, come off TikTok, come off Facebook, and just research one charity, one mental health charity, just to see what they do and where they are. Because there's a world of services out there that people don't know about. And like you said, you've been doing it 20 years and people still don't know. So people don't look for that information unless they need it. Whereas if you have something at hand, a little bit behind you, then if your friend comes to you and says, I'm not feeling good, Conor, what can I do? You're not going to be like, and then start just waffling. You can always say, well, I'm not really sure. I've not been through this, but I know I've looked into P.I.P.S. P.I.P.S are in Lurgan, and they all do free, blah, blah, blah. And then it might just start the conversation. Oh, really? And then you can bring them along and help them get that referral. So just having that 1 week conversation with somebody is crucial. Is there anything else you want to say?
Well, just when you brought up the P.I.P.S thing there, it just brings a smile to my face. We are P.I.P.S Hope and Support, and that we represent the Southern Trust area, which is obviously the Craigavon area.
These are completely separate?
All the P.I.P.S groups are totally independent of each other, so we're not connected to P.I.P.S in Belfast, although many people think we are.
Yeah.
There's no connection there at all. We are funded by the Public Health Agency to provide our suicide prevention services right across the whole Southern Trust. So that means it was from Dungannon, Crosswood Lane, Ballymartin, Catesbridge, Lurgan, Kilkeel. It all covers. We cover that whole area. That's our our area for covering for suicide prevention and also for anything to do with Protect Life Resource Centre services, which is training and drop-in and everything else.
Okay, perfect. Last week question, just before we go. What advice would you give to somebody at home that's watching this, that's thinking, I'm not feeling good?
Reaching out for help is a strength. It's an inner strength. Self-awareness is important. Understanding that your own needs. If you do feel that there's something going on in your life at the moment and you're not able to manage it and you're not able to deal with it, reach out for the help and support. You will find that once you've done that, once you've got over that stage of being afraid to ask and you've actually done the asking, you'll feel almost immediately a sense of relief that there's somebody else there. You're not on your own anymore. You've got support behind you. You've got a team of people who understand how to work with you. So it can be quite difficult to do it in the first instance. But let me assure you, once you've lifted the phone and made that initial contact, there will be a sense of relief that you're getting the support that you need. So my advice is, please, please, please reach out, ask for help. Don't be afraid to phone us. Our number's well advertised. The Lifeline number is also well advertised. 0808 808 8000. It's a 24/7, 365 service that's provided right across Northern Ireland. We link in with them very closely. So between us all, the support's there, folks. So please reach out for it.
And even if you are afraid of reaching out, you can still pick up the phone and just say, there's somebody I know that's struggling. How do they go about getting referral? Just make that conversation. Even if you put yourself in sort of third person, you can still do that to get that initial phone call, and then we can sort of take it from there. But I think it's very important that people in the area know the services that's out there. So I just want to say a big massive thank you, and all the information that Seamus has provided, we'll put as much as we can on our Facebook and your Facebook. And if you do watch this, please share it. Please send it on to somebody else you think might take advantage of this, because you never know. It only takes one person to see this and to go, oh, I didn't realize that, and it might just change a life. So yeah, it's very important. But thank you very much for your time today, and thank you everyone for watching.
And thank you. I have to say, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be.
See?
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Okay, folks.